In today's fast-paced tech world, serverless computing is transforming the way we build applications. But what does serverless really mean? Unlike traditional infrastructure where you manage physical servers or virtual machines, serverless computing eliminates the need to manage servers altogether. Instead, you focus entirely on your code, while the cloud provider automatically handles provisioning, scaling, and managing infrastructure for you. Sounds pretty neat, right? So, why should you care about this? Let's dive into the key benefits of serverless computing. No server management. You don't need to worry about provisioning or maintaining servers. Just write your code, and AWS does the rest. Automatic scaling. Your application automatically scales up or down based on demand, ensuring you're only using the resources you need. Pay as you go. You only pay for the compute time your code actually uses, rather than paying for idle infrastructure. One of the most popular services for serverless computing is AWS Lambda. So what is AWS Lambda? At its core, AWS Lambda lets you run code in response to events without provisioning or managing servers. For example, imagine you have a photo sharing app. When a user uploads a new image, you can use AWS Lambda to automatically resize that image, so it's optimized for different devices. This process happens instantly and in the background only when it's needed. Now let's break down the core components of AWS Lambda. Lambda functions. These are blocks of code you write, which are executed when triggered by events. Triggers. These are the events that kick off the Lambda function, like an image upload, an HTTP request, or a message in a queue. Event-driven architecture. Lambda functions operate on an event-driven model, meaning they only run in response to specific events. Let's bring this to life with a real-world example. Say you have a web app where users can upload images. You store these images in Amazon S3, AWS's scalable storage service. You want the images to be automatically resized when uploaded. Here's how AWS Lambda fits into the picture. A user uploads an image to an S3 bucket. This upload event triggers a Lambda function. The Lambda function takes the image, resizes it, and saves the resized versions back into S3. You've built a serverless image processing pipeline without managing a single server. AWS Lambda doesn't work alone. It integrates with other AWS services to build powerful serverless applications. Let's explore a common serverless stack, API Gateway. This service acts as a front end to expose your Lambda functions via HTTP endpoints. You can build a fully serverless API by linking API Gateway with Lambda, Amazon S3 store and retrieve files, and use Lambda to process those files automatically, as we saw in the image upload example. DynamoDB. This is a fast, NoSQL database service that integrates with Lambda to trigger functions when items are added, modified, or deleted in the database. These services together allow you to build scalable, event-driven applications without managing any underlying infrastructure. To make the most of AWS Lambda, here are a few tips for optimizing your functions. Minimize execution time. Keep your Lambda functions small and focused on single tasks. The faster they execute, the less you pay. Manage cold starts. Cold starts happen when a Lambda function is invoked for the first time or after being idle. To reduce the impact, consider using provisioned concurrency for critical functions. Optimize memory and timeout settings. AWS allows you to allocate memory for your Lambda functions. More memory often means faster execution, so find the right balance between performance and cost. Use monitoring tools, leverage tools like AWS CloudWatch to track execution times, invocations, and errors. This data will help you fine-tune your functions for better performance. Serverless computing, and specifically AWS Lambda, offers a flexible, cost-effective way to build modern applications. With automatic scaling, pay-per-use pricing, and event-driven architecture, it's perfect for developers who want to focus on building great products without worrying about infrastructure. Whether you're processing images, building APIs, or automating workflows, AWS Lambda can help you build faster, scale effortlessly, and pay only for what you use. Ready to give serverless a try? Start by deploying your first Lambda function on AWS today.